Hi everyone, and welcome back to another drawing demo. I hope you didn't mind that little intro at the start there. I just thought I'd share a little piece of my world with you. It's a place where I go walking quite regularly. I always take my camera up there just in case I see a nice scene or something. And the day I was up there, the farmer had been round hay baling, and this barn actually, I've walked by it plenty of times, many times. I never really found it that interesting as a subject to draw. But as soon as the farmer had been around and sort of put these hay bales everywhere, I kind of noticed this kind of directional pathway that the hay bales, you know, they kind of lead into the picture, lead nicely into the barn, and then with the trees coming down that way, we've got this kind of nice V shape, well, almost V shape, you know, sort of pointing to the barn there. And I thought I might be able to get a nice, you know, drawing out of this. I know it's not a windmill or a church or a castle or anything grand like that, but every now and again I think, you know, an old barn, an old rustic barn with a, you know, rusty old roof and weathered brickwork and everything can make a really nice subject. So I'm going to give this one a go. And as you can see, I've changed the photo from colour into black and white in the photo editor. I do that so I can gauge the tones a lot better. Okay, so the materials I'm going to be using today are Daler Rowney textured fine grain cartridge paper, 200 grams. It was sent to me very kindly by Daler Rowney. They sent me a sample pack of paper, so I'm going to be using that today. The other side, obviously, I don't want the writing there. And the pencils I'll be using are a 5B, a 2B, an HB, and a 2H and a 4H. Quite a lot of pencils for me. A kneadable eraser, and the Tombow mono eraser, a blending stump, and a dust brush. And that's what I'll be using today. Right, let's get busy. Okay, so I'm going to start by actually just holding the photo over the paper, because they're both A4, so I can use a little bit of a cheat actually. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark out where the bottom of that hedge line is, just there. Just sort of mark it on the paper, just at the edge, sort of roughly in line. And the same the other side. Get that lined up. Maybe about sort of there, something like that. So now I know that that's going to sort of join up with that. I'm just using a 2H pencil actually for this, so. And that'll give me a line to actually, as a foundation, just to start everything from. So I know I've got the correct slope in that field there. I've got it to the right height on the paper. So yeah, that'll give me a good start. Okay, so we'll start with the trees in the top corner. Just very basic, simple line drawing. If that's the base of the hedge, then that's going to sort of come up to about that high. Now we've got sort of a fence across there. Sort of thing. Then we've got the building that sort of starts about there. About that sort of size. I've sort of got this sort of broken line of the shrubbery that's sort of grown in front of the barn there. And we've got the start of one of the hay bales just about around about here somewhere. Something about like that anyway, just comes below or more or less in line with the bottom of that hedge. I'm just going to draw sort of simple cylinder shapes, just these sort of elliptical shapes just on the ends here. I'm just trying to follow that curve on that side, and that'll do for a basic hay bale just to get started with. I can put all the detail in later. This sort of hedge about at that height. Okay, so as I'm drawing these shapes, I'm just keeping them like very basic cylinder shapes just to get them established. But what I'm being mindful of is each one gets a little bit bigger as it comes further forward into the picture. About there. Okay, I think that's near enough. I'm happy with that. Okay. Right, so we've got these edges just in the back there. We've got this big tree. Well, in fact, we've got a little bushy type thing just in the distance there, which leads us into this sort of very open looking tree in the background here. So now what I want to do at this stage is just leave it like that, and I want to put a little sky in just at the top there. In the picture it was just a plain blue flat cloudless sky, and in the black and white photo it just looks sort of just light grey really, and not very interesting. So I'm just going to put something in just at the top and sort of fade it down so it gets lighter at the bottom. And what I'm going to do for that, I just have to move this out of the way for a second. I'm going to use some printer paper, really nice smooth surface, one of these cotton wool balls, and a 9B pencil. I'm going to just scribble and get loads of graphite built up in thick layers so it's all kind of sitting on the top. Good amount down there. Okay, that should, oops, I dropped my pencil. That should just about be okay. Now I'm just going to use the cotton ball and just rub over it, pressing quite hard until it looks like that. Keep going until that's covered in graphite. Okay, you'll need to repeat this a few times for this to work properly. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tilt this on the side a little bit. It makes it easy for me to work this. Just gently, just going to start just rubbing that over, just along the top there. It's just going to give us a very light tone, just to break up the whiteness of the paper. I don't even know, let me have a look in the viewfinder. Oh yeah, it is picking up on camera a little bit, isn't it? It looks very light though, but that's all I need. Okay, I'm just going to repeat that process. Using the same piece. Just get loads of graphite on there. Wow, if you could see the shine on that when I tilt it, that looks awful. Yeah, okay. And the same again, just nice and gently. You're probably wondering why I'm not using graphite powder for this, and some kitchen paper. that can make things look a little bit too dark and a little bit textured. By using smooth cotton wool, you don't get hardly any texture on the paper. I'm just going to turn it over on the clean bit, sort of go over it and pull it down into the lighter area of the sky, and just kind of just generally smooth it over so it's nice and smooth, smoothly smooth. We're just about to lose a clip there as well. Let's clip that back on. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That'll do for now, I think. Right, okay. Right, okay. I was actually going to leave that side empty and leave these bales of hay completely out of the composition, but as I'm looking at it, I think they actually work well in the picture. They sort of frame it, and they give a little bit of balance as well, because it's quite heavy on this side with the hay bales. So I think, yeah, I'm just going to drop those in now. I thought they actually may have looked a little bit cluttered in the photo, but as I'm looking at the line drawing now, it definitely gives a balance to the picture. So if we imagine the frame of the picture is sort of there, just leave a border around it. So we've got this one, very top one, that's sticks over the hedge line a little bit at an angle. Okay, that'll do. So now I'll start putting the foliage in on the trees just here. I'm just going to start with just little circular motions with an HB pencil. I'm not going to spend too long filming this part actually, because I've only just finished making a video on how to draw foliage in trees. I think it's 2 videos down on the list, so you've not got far to look for it, but this will take me quite a while, and I don't want the video to drag on too long. I want to try and keep it all in real time if I can, just with a few edits in between, just to sort of cut out the boring bits, because you know, this is going to take me quite a while to do this. And, you know, like I said, there's no need for me to show it all because I've just made a video, so I hope you don't mind that. But as you can see, if it's your first time you know, watching my channel, basically what I do is just little circular scribbles, just as initial sort of foundation all over, to start off some texture and just a basic mid-tone, just to give me something to work to. So I can go in there with the eraser, pull out some highlights, go back in with a darker pencil, create some nice dark shaded areas, and work the detail up, all just from this, just from little circular motions with an HB pencil. I sort of call it blocking in, but blocking in really is sort of a flat sort of blocked in area, but I'm kind of blocking in with a little bit of texture, if you like. Okay, so I've got all the trees filled in, pretty much finished. I'm going to change that one a little bit later on, but I've kind of had enough at the minute for drawing trees. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And I've put the grass in. The reason I've done that is because when I fill these darker areas of the barn openings, I'm going to shade down and do sort of a negative drawing technique around the tops of these grasses and shrubs. Very similar to that there. So yeah, that's why I put that in first. Right, okay, so we'll get started now with the barn roof. Yeah, we've sort of got sort of an old tin roof, fairly rusty, some nice light patches on it, quite rustic looking, so we'll get started on that right now. So for that I'm going to use a 2B pencil, sorry, a 2H pencil, I'm just going to start by drawing these lines down to suggest the corrugations in the roof. Keeping them fairly close together. I'll just keep working along like that until I reach the end. Okay, I'm just about there now. There we go. Right, now I'm going to use the HB pencil. I'm just going to start, let me just move this around. I'm just going to start putting in the shadows underneath these, well, I don't think the ridge tiles, are sort of the capping on top of the roof there. Doesn't matter if it's all wonky, you know, it'll all sort of add character. You know, these old barns and everything, they're all sort of wonky and you know, sort of weathered and out of shape. So there's no need for sort of, you know, too much accuracy, you know, while you're doing things like this. I'm sort of doing a sort of a broken line with sort of little dots and dashes. Actually, I've gone wrong there, not too high. That's it. A few little dots and everything will just sort of suggest a few of the shapes and the corrugations of the roof there. I'm going to use the fine blender, just run that across the top. And then with the 2H pencil, I'm just going to start just shading in a little bit on the tiles, just sort of here and there. Soften that back a little bit. Okay, that'll do. Right, so now I think with a 2H pencil I'm just going to start to, in fact no, I'll use the blending stump again and I'll just run that over the roof. In fact, it'd probably work better if I went in the direction that the roof was going, so we'll do it that way. As you can see, I'm not sort of blending the whole thing in, I'm sort of leaving it very patchy. That's going to start the sort of ageing look on the roof there. Well, hopefully anyway. For some reason that roof looks rounded there. Let me see if I can straighten that up. If I use an HB. If anything, the roof wants to be sagging that way, not sort of bulging out that way, so I'll just reshape that a little bit. That's it, that's better. Okay, and still while I've got the HB pencil, I'm going to just darken off under the sheets of corrugated tin. I'm going to do these like little, tiny little hills, if you like. And that's going to suggest the shape of the edge of the metal there, and it's also going to put in some shadow for us. There we go, that should be okay. I'm just going to soften those back a little bit just underneath. Okay, that should just about do, I think. Right, so now I'm going to go back in on the roof with a 2H pencil. I'm just going to start putting some of the darker areas in now, just some of the darker rusty bits and all the sort of ageing character on the roof. Still working in the direction that the corrugation's running, and leaving little gaps in between just to suggest sort of highlights, you know, on the high points of the corrugations there. I'm not copying the picture exactly, I'm sort of kind of making this up as I go along, but I'm using the picture as a reference, just as a guideline. To just sort of help me along a little bit. Okay, I think that'll about do for that. I don't think I'm actually going to go in with the HB. I'm just going to give that a little blend over first and just see what it looks like. Okay, I think I'll just leave it like that for now. I think I probably will come back to it later on. But what I want to do now is start putting the brickwork in at the side of the barn and on these pillars. Actually, I've just noticed there's a little tiny window. I don't know if you can make that out. It's a tiny little narrow window in the side there, so I'll just put that in before I start doing the brickwork. Somewhere about there, I should imagine. Yeah, that'll be fine. Just using the 2H pencil for that. Right, so I'm just going to put a few very light guidelines in. So I can just gauge the perspective. Of the bricks when I'm actually kind of just shading them in, so that looks okay. I'm just going to do just a little bit of tone as well with the blender, just kind of just rub that over just here and there, very randomly. You can draw a few little brick shapes in there to start with, I think. Okay. I'm just going to put the odd little line of bricks just here and there. Not going to draw everything, just suggest a few. I mean, you can't really see every one of them anyway. They're kind of very light and blurred, but they are there. So just a suggestion of them is all we'll need for this, I think. You know, and if you do go too dark and put too many on there, we can always erase a few. Which I'm actually going to do. Actually, I'm going to go in with the eraser and put a few lighter bricks in. Over the top of some of these darker ones. That should look nice. It should have like a little bit of variation, a little bit of character, a little bit of weather into the brickwork. I think that'll do. Right, so these pillars that are on the front here, they're more in shade, well in fact they are in shade. So I'm going to do those a little bit darker. We've got that beam just running underneath as well, so I'll just start with the blending stump actually and just put a basic tone over there. Again, I'll just start to suggest a few bricks. Okay. So now I've got to make this a few shades darker than the side, so I'll go in and just do a few darker bricks. And just keep shading over them just a little bit with the 2H pencil. Don't want to lose that line just there, that's it. And the same on this one. I've got to be careful I don't get the tones clashing. I'll just put a line just there. Keep that edge nice and dark so we get a contrast between the field just there and this pillar. I'm just going with a few darker bricks just to start with. Right, okay, I'll leave it at that then. So now the brickwork's done, I'm going to use a 5B pencil to start putting in the darker areas inside the barn. I can actually see though that sort of halfway down there's some sort of, I'm not sure what it is, a plank or the back of the barn or something, but there's a lighter area just below halfway. So I'm just going to draw a faint line just so I remember not to shade over that part. Right, okay, I'm just going to actually tilt the paper a little bit, sorry about that, it's not going to make very good viewing, but it's more for my convenience actually. I find it easier to work at an angle. It doesn't matter if you use a 4B or a 6B pencil for this, just something that's really nice and dark. You can even use a 9B actually, I don't know why I didn't, because it really does look sort of dark and black under there, particularly around the top, so hopefully though with a 5B I can get the same effect. Okay, so I think I'll use a 2B pencil. I might even use an HB. Let me see how we go with a 2B pencil just to put the lighter area in, just underneath. And I've got to be careful now to start drawing around the tops of these grasses. I've got to leave a nice sort of natural looking edge along there, so just be careful of that as I'm going. Okay, that looks okay. I'll just blend that in just a little bit. Right, let's have a look at that then. That's okay. I just need to do a little bit of work on the tops of the grasses, I think. So now the next stage, I'm going to start drawing in the bales of hay. I actually changed them a little bit from the initial drawing. I made them a little bit bigger, actually. I just thought they needed to go bigger, so I just, altered them a little bit. I think what I'll do to start with is possibly use, I'll just test it first, something like a 4H. Before I actually put the hay bales in, I'm going to sort of fill in all the area around it, all the sort of stubbles of cut corn and everything first, which is going to take me a while, but I think I'll start with we'll just see, let's just test a little area. Yeah, I think a combination of the 4B and, not 4B, sorry, 4H and the 2H yeah, I think that'll just about do the trick. And what I'll do, I'll just do those little sort of, well, they're just kind of little lines really, just little ticks. Just going along like that. And then in the background area, I'm just going to fade them off a little bit with the blender. And then just here and there, just add a few little highlights. Again, just sort of little flicks with the eraser. And I think that should just about be convincing enough to look like the sort of the stubble and the cut corn. I'll just show you on the photo. It's kind of soft and faded in the background, and you can see a lot more of it in the foreground. We've got some sort of darker areas where the shadow is, and the little sort of darker areas just here and there, which I'll put in. So yeah, I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of time actually doing that. Basically what I'm going to do is just these little flicks. Just like that with the 4B, sorry I said 4B again, didn't I? So 4H pencil, just keep them really nice and light. Just kind of work over it like that. And then use the 2H for the darker areas. Okay, so I'm nearly there now. I managed to get all that done. I gave up with the 4H pencil past about that point there. I just stuck to the 2H pencil for the rest of it. Just got this little strip to do at the bottom now, and so in the frame, yeah, just that little strip there, and then that's as good as done. I probably won't completely leave it like that. It's just basically a first layer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in all the hay bales, see what it looks like, see if it needs to be a little bit lighter or a little bit darker, and just assess it from there really. But all I'm doing are just little sort of ticks, if you like, little lines, grass strokes, whatever you want to call them. And then when I get a certain area done, I just go over it with the soft brush and just soften it back a little bit, and then maybe just add a few highlights with the fine eraser, and go in again with the 2H pencil if it needs it. I'm sort of making the lines a little bit bigger as I come further forward, further down the picture, because obviously, perspective is going to make them look a lot bigger than way off into the distance there. Okay, that's just about there on that side. So what I'm going to do now is just take the brush, soften it back just a little bit. And that'll do. I shall add a few more darks in there, just sort of here and there, just for a few shadows and a few variations in tone here and there. I'll do a lot more than that, you know. This is just to sort of show you basically what I'm doing. And just a few little flicks here and there with the eraser, just for a few highlights. And that's pretty much it. Okay, I think that should do. Okay, so that's the field all filled in. As you can see, I've made a start on these 3 hay bales just here. I'm going to show you how I do that now on this one. So I'm just going to cover the picture over so I don't smudge the graphite. I'm going to use a 2H pencil and just start shading in just a basic tone, following the shape of the hay bale. You know, sort of shading in a sort of curved motion. And also leaving sort of a broken edge along the bottom, so I get this sort of effect. Just along the bottom edge of the hay bales, it just looks like little bits of cut corn just kind of sticking up. You know, it doesn't look right if you just kind of leave them completely flat, so a few little bits of corn just sticking up can really make it look more realistic. Okay, and I'm going to use the blender. Just soften that in just a little bit. Don't really want too much detail showing at this distance. I should have a lot more detail when I start doing the foreground ones though. Okay, just strengthen that up a little bit here and there. Okay, and now what I'm going to use is a drafting pencil. It's a 0.5mm lead and it's an HB lead. I'm just going to sort of add some shade around the very bottom part of it and sort of just flick up so it kind of leaves a, I don't know, sort of what's the word I'm looking for? A hay bale effect. I don't know, I think you know what I mean though. It looks like the you know, the strands of hay that are sort of coiled round. And it's also adding shade to the bottom as well, when you can see I'm kind of leaving this broken edge as well. And you can do this with a normal HB pencil as long as you sharpen it to a nice fine point. Don't really want any sort of thick lines showing at this distance. They're very fine, you know, if you can see any detail. You can see just a little bit, but there's not too much of it there. So I just want to suggest just a little bit, but I want to get the base really nice and dark. I just lost the shape a little bit there. I'll just erase that out a little bit. Keep it nice and light on the top as well. I'm just going to pull down with the eraser just into the graphite. I'm just going to blend that together. Okay, I think that'll do for this part. Now I'll move on to this part. So it's back to the 2H pencil. And now we're kind of doing this sort of circular motion. Sort of broken lines. Keeping it fairly rough and random, you know, it doesn't have to look exactly the same way. In fact, it won't look exactly the same, but we're just going to make it look half right. So just by suggesting the direction, you know, the hay is sort of ravelled up, you know, by doing these sort of directional lines, should look okay. What I've got to be careful of with this one, I don't know if you can see there, but the tone is very similar to what's at the back of it, the grass verge at the back there. It's only just a fraction lighter, so I've got to make sure that I keep that lighter, probably even lighter than what's actually in the photograph, or make the grass darker, but I definitely want to get some contrast there, or it's just going to sort of all get lost, all the tones will merge in together. So I've got to be careful of that as I'm doing this. Okay, now just blend that in a little bit. Just need to make that a little bit more rounded there. Yeah, that's better. Just a few little darker areas of detail just here and there. A few highlights, just lighten a few of the areas that are sticking out a little bit more. That's near enough, I think. Yeah, that'll do. That'll be fine. Okay, right, so on to the next. Okay, we're on the home run now. I've just got these last two to do. I'm just going to start off with the 2H pencil. Doing pretty much the same thing as what I've done for that one. And I'm just going to add a little bit more detail to the foreground, a little bit more contrast. Well, then again, I might not. I might actually, I don't know whether to actually keep them soft. So I don't, yeah. Well, I'll just see how I go. I'll start off lightly and I'll see how I go. I might try and keep them soft so that they don't sort of block, well not block, but you know, they don't sort of distract you from the rest of the picture. That can often be the trouble with, you know, big objects in the foreground. They can, you know, although there's kind of a pathway leading in there, sometimes those big objects can sort of, you know, stop the eye from travelling in. It can be so distracting. So I'll just make a start, and I'll try and balance it up as I go. I'll probably leave it fully detailed actually, but yeah, it doesn't. I mean, when I look at the photo and the detail in the photo, it doesn't really distract me from anywhere else in the picture. So actually, I ought to look what I'm doing. I'm looking at the photo and looking at the camera and talking at the same time and not paying any attention to what I'm doing here. So, okay, so that's darker around that area there. So I'll just give those a little blend. Okay. So now I'm going to use the HB pencil and just start increasing the tone a little bit. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the drafting pencil now, and although it's an HB lead in there, the Pentel high polymer leads are more like 2B instead of an HB, so I'm just going to use that now, which is going to give me an even darker tone and some finer lines as well. I should increase the detail and the contrast both together. See, I'm sort of keeping a rough edge along here. That's so that when I come to draw that in, I've not got like a hard line there, because it looks kind of, well, in the photo look, you know, I've got like little bits of corn and everything just sticking out there, so I don't want to do a hard edge there. I mean, I'll use the eraser anyway and I'll put a few lighter marks over there just to add some detail, but you know, if I keep it sort of loose around there, that should help me when I come to draw that one. Okay, just want to take the eraser and just put a few highlights just here and there. Okay, that's looking okay, I think. Just soften it back just a little bit. Right, okay. So now I'll start on this end piece. I'm just going to use the eraser just to pull out a few little highlights just on the edge, just to suggest a few strands of hay or corn or whatever it is. Just a few little random pieces just here and there. It's hardly anything, but I can see them there in the photo, so I'm going to put them in. It is making a little bit of a difference there, so I'll just probably overdoing that, so I'll just take a few of those out a little bit. Yeah, that'll be okay. And the same thing on this side. We've got quite a light highlight coming down there, so I'll just mark that out. It sort of comes down to about there. And I've got all this kind of rough stuff on this edge just here. I apologise if I don't talk too much on these real-time videos, but I know I've said it many times before, I do actually find it difficult to concentrate on drawing and talk at the same time. And half the time I can't think of anything to say anyway. So, yeah. Just blend that in just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to use the eraser again just to pull out a few little highlights again. Actually, I'll use the drafting pencil just to get some darker shadow just around the bottom part of it, just there. Sometimes you can copy things in a picture, you know, from a photo, but they don't work in your picture. So this is where your artistic license comes in, just to try and, well, you stop looking at the photo and you just start looking at your picture and think, right, what can I do to make this look a little bit better? At the minute, not much. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now, and move on to this one. So 2H, exactly the same again. You can see some very sort of even lines on this where the wrap has actually gone round. It's like the cords or the string or whatever in the wrap. HB pencil, just start darkening off a little bit. I'm going to use the drafting pencil, although I can't see the really dark darks like on this one, because this is sort of half out of the picture. Just a little bit is showing just around the base, so I'm just going to put a little bit of darker graphite just around the base, and then flick up a little bit with a few details. Soften it back a little bit. Okay, so I'm just about done. I've just got this last edge to do just here. It's only take me 5 minutes. Then after that I'm probably going to spend 5 or 10 minutes just generally tidying up, just refining certain areas and things like that. And so the next frame you see will be the finished drawing. So I hope that was helpful to you. I've tried to keep this in real time, but cut out all the sort of boring bits, so you're not had to sit through those. So I hope it's been beneficial to you. Thanks very much for viewing, really do appreciate it, and take care everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.